another one of those rather lovely late summer, early autumn mornings where it was, well, it still is actually, a little bit misty, but it feels like a day full of promise. I came outside to get the trolley behind me there, to go into the stable and clear out the ducks' nursery pen, because the next batch of ducks due to hatch should arrive on Sunday. However, this morning one egg is picked and another one is rocking like mad, so I think I'd better get their pen ready sooner rather than later, in case we have early arrivals. So anyway, I came out to get the trolley and I walked past the raspberries, which I had promised myself I would get into the ground last week. These are the last of the raspberries that we bought from Mr. J's mother's house, and we bought an awful lot of pots of raspberries. Anyway, so we've got these large pots of raspberries and I still haven't got them into the ground, so I thought, well, that's a quick job, I will start putting them in. And indeed they are now starting to get put into the ground. So I'm giving each pot of raspberries a good soak in a bucket of water first, and then I'm digging an approximate hole, because I don't really know until I get the roots out of the pot. I've got no idea what sort of size the roots are, but I'm loosening up the soil a little bit. And these beds, I don't dig, I don't turn them over as such, so it's just creating a small planting pocket, because I don't want to disturb the topsoil any more than I have to. So what I'm doing is I keep keeping on adding layers on top and on top and on top, and letting the microbial action do its work to break down those layers. Okay, so here's my pot. Let's just tip it out gently. To see what I've got. Because when I lifted them, I put 2 or 3 sort of root sections, 2 or 3 big plants in each pot. So I'm just having a look to see what we've got, because I may be able to just break some sections off, like this one. And that's a whole new plant that I can pop over there and put in another place, because I don't really want to crowd any one spot in this bed too much. And there we go, that actually just fell apart. Which plant do those babies belong to? Oh, one each by the look of that. So then there's another section of plant, and this is the one I'm going to put in here. So I'm filling in around it, and just making sure that there's no air pockets at the roots, because plants really don't like air pockets at the roots. That looks pretty good. And then those other pieces that I took from that root ball, I'm going to put in the ground in a separate place, and then they can provide us lots and lots of lovely raspberries next year. Should we try not to get distracted by the cat? Oh, Thank you, Monty. Okay, these are autumn fruiting raspberries, which means that they fruit on this year's growth. So any of the stems that have come up this year, they'll fruit on them. The summer fruiting raspberries fruit on growth from last year. So they're the ones that you need to tie in their long canes, stems into a framework, and at the end of the year you cut out the ones that have fruited this year because they're not going to fruit again, and the best fruit is going to come on the growth from that year. So next year it will fruit on last year's growth, and it does mean having some sort of framework. Well, not necessarily, but to get a really good crop it does. And I've been joined Monty. Hello, sweetie. So these autumn fruiting raspberries are just so easy to care for. So they fruit on this year's growth, like this. And all you need to do is, after they've fruited in the late autumn, you just cut them down to the ground. You literally just cut everything off down to the ground, and if you want to, you can mulch them, but you don't need to. Sorry, come on then. There you go. Is that what you wanted? Yes, so these are easy peasy to care for, and yes, you have to wait until later in the year for your raspberries, but what a delight after the strawberries are finished, after the early blueberries are finished. You suddenly get this lovely crop of raspberries, and to have fresh soft fruit at this time of year, wow, it just feels like a privilege. Well, I was going to finish the planting, but Monty's gone to sleep, leaning against my leg, and I feel a bit mean about disturbing him. You right there, boy? Hey. Well, that's the raspberry bed almost completed, because the one thing I've got left to do is lift a couple more plants to put in. There's a gap here and a gap sort of here opposite it, and I've left those because, well, partly because I've got lettuces in this side which I haven't lifted yet and haven't used, but also because here in the food forest there are a couple of raspberry plants, one here and one tucked down at the end there, that haven't done all that well, and so at the very least I want to move this one into the raspberry bed, because it has got a few raspberries on it, but it hasn't got that much growth, and it doesn't look hugely happy. So I'm going to put it into that bed that has got more food in it, more nutrients, and see how it gets on there. Oh, what a handsome chap you are. Yes, you are a lovely boy.